Good morning, people. Good morning. Yes, it's good old Friday, February 11, 2022, and the time is now 4:28 a.m. Yes, I've been up now for quite a while. I was listening to, watching videos, and I feel a little triggered. Wow, I feel very sensitive right now. Uh, I feel triggered for a couple of reasons. Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Just getting started here. And I invite you to say hello in the chat room. Well, let me tell you. Yeah, I feel very anxious right now in my body. Um, I mean, I'm basically okay, but as you guys know, I am on the sensitive side, very sensitive. It's like I could watch something and you might get bad vibes on something. Yeah, I was watching actually a couple on YouTube, and the person talks about their spouse a lot of times, but this was the first time that the spouse was on screen with them, and that was the initial trigger. Spiritual guy, has a spiritual channel. Again, I don't want to give names or anything like that. Um, some of his work is pretty good. Um, I guess it's one of those things when you have a family member with you on the screen, doing a live stream, it could be unsettling. See, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but the tension between the two was unbearable. And the spouse seemed really, really nice, but you can feel it like a knife. And they have a mascot on the channel, and even their mascot was getting really out of hand. I couldn't finish watching it. I had to turn it off. The relationship between them was so toxic, and I did write them a comment. It's like they didn't want to introduce them. I mean, I'm not going to even get it with it into it because I don't. It just I just feel it. I feel anxious, petting it. It's like I perceive certain things, and I wonder whether anyone else picked it up. And it's like I'm no one to talk about anyone, and I even wrote that if I was wrong with my assumptions, I apologize. But it was just so strong and so toxic. My body, I pick up something. So so I watched something else, and I watch I watch this guy. He lives near where I live actually, and he does what they call walkabouts. He walks in New York City with his doing a live stream. And remember, guys, I used to do the same thing outside. I used to go out with my dogs, and just share conversation with you guys. But I no longer have cell phone service. I cancel my service. But he does this, and he showed different locations, and these are locations that I know of. And what he focused on, even though he might come across very brash, this particular YouTuber, but at the same time, he's correct most of the time. And he talked about the the tents, those tents that do those testing. It is so common. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. They have these booths and these large trucks that take samples, for the virus. Um, it is it is so commonplace now. And he talked about them, like you couldn't help but notice. So it's even more like I've been staying in, like last month, January of this year. I only went outside maybe 4 times during the whole month. But yes, now, I mean, you really see, I did go out yesterday with my pack. And yes, there are a tremendous amount of these booths all over. And the guy that does the walkabout is pointing notice of it also. And he asked them he's bold and he goes up to them and asks them questions. And they seem very honest with their response. They didn't try to hide it. I perceive that something's not sitting right regarding it. Like at first, when the trucks came out to take those tests, the samples, it looked legit. I just assumed they're from a laboratory and they have employees there and they take samples. The trucks look very clean, very professional. The people um, are in their gear, and they look believable of people who to take samples. Well, um, it's changing now. Now now the guy had a point. This YouTuber who talks and does the walkabouts, live walkabouts in New York City, uh, not far from we live near each other. Again, I don't personally know him, but I've been watching his channel since 2020. The the people that they get in to take to do the sample gathering is looking more and more seedy. They don't look clean. You're getting people, I don't even think they're real technicians. They have like these makeshift booths, and it's right on top of a the subway grading. Like we have subway systems in New York City, and the grading is where all the exhaust from the train escape, and they set it up right on top of these gratings. So how sanitary is that? You have to have be able to take a clean sample. How are you going to take a clean sample if you are posted right by a garbage heap or on top of the subway grating? They're wearing like coats, these heavy coats, because now the weather is cold outside, and they're sleeping. Some of you just have one person. Like they get these older. I see. I know it's going to sound biased. The type of people that they're getting now, and they look like they're just working independent. Usually, you have a team, like those trucks, and then they have the tents. Um, like the tent is right in front of the door. So you're always covered. So there's always something above them. The people take the samples, but now uh, tents that with no truck, that store the samples. They're just out on the street. The people look like um, they look like homeless people that are being used to gather your sample, and they're sleeping. They have this big down coat on, and they have a hood on, and their arms are folded, and they're actually sleeping in the tent where they gather your sample. And he walks over to one of them and asks about the guy's credentials. He says, "Oh yeah, we they that they trained him, and they trained to get this a 1 hour training session, 1 hour only, and then they put him out on the street to take your sample." And he's on top of a grate, the subway grating. This seems like a money scam for the homeless slash drug addict types. They're there in the city because it's so lucrative. Because remember, in New York City, a lot of people are, a lot of companies, legitimate companies, are closing. A lot of now unemployed people. But this um, sample, places that take your samples is now seems to be replacing legitimate businesses. What it looks like. That's what I'm saying. What it looks like. You get a 1 hour training session. They put you in a filthy booth, have you sit there. They have a table, a little table in front of them, and he's sleeping, so he's not keeping an eye on the samples. And do you think that that's someone that's really taking their job serious and doing a public service and taking samples? How clean are these samples? Do they have gloves on? Do they? It just looks filthy. It looks like a racket. Hey, let me just set up a booth, somehow get a license to do what they're doing to get money. There's money being, and it appears to be a lot of money being offered to these booths. And some of them, they're not even trying to get samples. It looks like a side job. Like you have those who, are legit. They actually work for the lab company. They're maybe phlebotomists or something. But now they're just getting anybody off the street, a 1 hour session, and boom, they now have the right to put a thing up your nose. God, this sounds dangerous, people. This sounds dangerous. It gave me the willies. And I'm just watching this guy's YouTube channel, the video, and I feel my body feels stressed. Excuse me, I'm just moving the thing. I feel very stressed. See, I had a total of 4 testings from these big trucks with the tent. But it's like more and more, it just started to look like, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. See, I'm born and raised here. And you basically see, the flow of things, who works in what industry, who's doing what. But when there's a quick shifting of the demographics, who's doing what, it's like you notice. And so I'm noticing all these, what he's showing on the video. And it's like, this is not sitting right with me. It's not sitting right. What are they up to in New York City? I mean, the largest growing business now is to put something up somebody's nose. And all this data that's saying that there's more and more people getting sick. I wonder whether the testing are being contaminated, or it's not it wasn't taken correctly, and it's issuing out a false positive. If they're this sloppy in taking your samples on the street in a filthy location, how valid are those testings going to be in the laboratory? How careful are they even in the laboratory when they do the testing? I mean, when they uh, examine the samples, it's spooky. This is really spooking me. And then they talk. What else he talked about? Oh, I'm trying to get my thoughts. Oh, the mandate. The mandate for at least the mask wearing or the diaper wearing is partially off in New York, in the state of New York. But it says, however, okay, so you don't have to wear the mask. However, in some locations, you have to wear the mask. And where the mask mandate holds are for places that doesn't make sense to me, that I think people need oxygen. Schools, those little kids cannot breathe. You think they're going to have much learning? Uh, is speech delay with some of the children because they can't, read the lips. Communication is more than just open and closing your mouth. The expressions, your eyes, everything that communicates language. Um, so they want that. What they call public places like restaurants. You cannot eat inside a restaurant unless you have taking what I call the Kool-Aid. So all these sensitive spots, they're strong on. Where else? Oh, what's that? Um, Hospitals, transportation. That they used to have to wear the mask, or at least they said, okay, the state of New York says one thing, but they said the local governments within the state of New York, um, they have some say. They can have something a little different. So private industry and some of the local governments could say, you know, that you still have to do certain things. I don't like this. I, I, I don't like this. I live in New York City here. And I don't like you going into a place. Two places. One was very firm. This was a couple of months ago. Um, they won't serve. He said, "I will not. I cannot serve you unless you have your mask on." So I said, I said something. I did put something on. I've eaten there before, and I made a. I said, "Hey, but," he says, "Well, it's not just me. See, they're gonna charge him $1,000 if he doesn't follow the rules. If he doesn't tell people um, that they have to wear a mask to be served. If he doesn't, he's going to be fined $1,000." So it's fear. So they're bullying the people in the restaurants. I mean, this that was a bagel place. Yeah, I mean, you can also eat in the bagel place as well, but it's fair. They are afraid to be fined, and you shouldn't have to. The law is still firm. I mean, the Constitution is firm, and the Nuremberg codes is firm. Those are laws, and they're pushing these other things against the actual law that allow us the freedom of your rights on your medical condition. You shouldn't have to go to establishment and they say, "Oh, do you have such and such?" What if someone asks, "Oh, do you have venereal disease?" It's none of their damn business what you have. And then to say you can't, we won't serve you unless you have something. It is not the state's business to pass a law about your business. I mean, it's not, again, a mandate is not a law. Remember that. A mandate is not a law, it's a suggestion, but they're pushing it on you as if it's a law, a legal law. They want to look legit, but they're not legit. See, even how they how they are allowing some things. Yeah, what they're allowing in New York City is those things are bringing money. Businesses that, the businesses that, hey, you don't have to have a mask on because, see, they have they bring in money in the city. A lot of the companies are shutting down, and they're still shutting down in New York City. So there's, okay, we can allow businesses, you don't have to wear the mask, but places like schools, transportation, um, and some other things, oh, you have to uh, have the mask on. So the germ only knows the schools and taxis, but they don't know the supermarkets when you're buying food. It doesn't know the distinction. I mean, it makes a distinction between that. Hello, people. See, it doesn't make sense. So if this thing is really that dangerous, then all of it should be closed. And again, it does not prevent the spread. And if it's really something important, wouldn't they ensure that the samples that are being given is clean? These cops aren't giving tickets. Say, hey, you're not wearing, you're taking samples and you're right on top of the subway grading, right next to a garbage heap. See that it's not making sense, New York City. It's cuckoo. It's cuckoo. I love my city. I'm born and raised here. So my body feels sensitive now. I'm very my emotions. I'm very sensitive. Um, when things don't make sense. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to hold this thing up. It's getting heavy. I'm holding the iPad. My arms are getting tired. Sorry. Yeah. I I'm so sad about where New York City is going. It is so seedy. It's a seediness and a gaminess spirit. And what it looks like, they're allowing what looks like, I know, and I know it's not politically correct, but what it looks like, that they're getting what they call guest workers, okay, at least I'll say it nicely, guest workers to take your samples and make money off of it. It's so lucrative that there are more of those places popping up everywhere in New York City than the lawful businesses in New York City. Large large businesses that have been in New York City for years are closed, but these new booths are flourishing all over. I don't like it. I don't like the feel of it. It's just getting nasty here. I don't like it here. I don't like what I see. I love my city. It's Gameyville. Gamey. Um, and the pushiness of some places. Like I went to a bagel place 2 days ago. Yeah, it was the day before yesterday. And I had my scarf. I don't wear the surgical one, but I had a scarf on and I had it covering my nose and mouth. And she's one of the workers there wants to hand me one of those blue masks. I said no, thank you. He said, oh, my boss, blah, blah, blah. You know, I I'm a little um, upset about something with that. Um, I guess because how I feel right, I just feel a little uncomfortable. But like a lot of these businesses, they get these. I don't like. See, I can't go to other people's countries and tell them what to do, what mask, or what are you doing, or this or that, or you should do this or that. I'll be laughed at. But you have people who from other places, and you're gonna tell me what to do with my body and putting that thing on my face. How many of those people in that place have the what do you call it? The documents to work in this country, right? You're gonna ask me about a mask, and here the mandate was ended yesterday, and you're gonna talk about your boss. It's like, why don't they be more concerned about people who aren't lawfully uh, allowed to work in this country? Shouldn't that isn't that more of a threat? If you come here undocumented and who knows how they entered, some people could enter lawfully, but they overstay their visa, or some just nothing at all. And somehow they're being preferred in being hired, but the locals that are born and raised here are being overlooked. I think that's more important than wearing something over my face that cannot prevent the spread. So I did feel a little sensitive. I did. Um, I know, I just don't like. Sorry, it was just glitching. Yeah, it's filthy here. Dirt and garbage all over. We're letting in people for who knows what place. When people are being brought, see, it goes hand in hand. When you have illegal activity happening, it affects everything else. your health. Just notice the correlation in neighborhoods that have people that possibly may not be here lawfully, and the type of health service that comes with it. How they're going to treat you, what the supplies. They're not going to have the same type of care because see, it's the resources are being overtaxed. It's being overtaxed. So they're not, and the fact if you're willing to hire them, that shows that you don't want to spend the actual wage on your own people because you want to save a penny. And New York City, in my opinion, by what I see, that they're willing to spend $50, let's say, to save one penny. See that? It doesn't make sense. It's affecting the healthcare system, the social system, because it's getting overtaxed by people, hungry, desperate people who are fleeing where they're from to get the good life here. And then slowly they start to encroach in your community and not respect you and start telling you what to do. It's a difference. See, they're not even guests. You don't have a guest in your home, and how would you feel if you brought in someone in your home? Maybe you felt sorry for them, but you brought in your home, and then that guest starts to tell you what to do in your house. But that's how I feel. Then they're no longer guests, and some could get very cocky and actually try to kick you out of your house. See, you're gonna feel differently. See, it's a lack of respect because see, the newcomers, some of the newcomers, when you start to gather momentum in a region or a domain, then they start making demands because they feel that now they own the space, and that I have a problem with. And that's why when I'm here, I mean, I've been here, I'm born and raised here, but I had briefly moved from New York City, excuse me, but I came back 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago. And more and more and more, I'm seeing people, I'm seeing less Americans in positions, and that the people from other places have more power over you, like you're nobody. And I'm just very shocked. I know this doesn't sound spiritual. It doesn't sound spiritual because spiritual people are supposed to feel like all love and light. Well, isn't it spiritual and loving to tell the truth? Is it loving and spiritual to say, I believe in protecting my own, whoever who my own is, whether it's your immediate family or whether it's the people from your neighborhood or the people who are lawfully here to work here, to live here, and to overlook the needs of those people who are lawfully here or the quality of service. So I felt growing up, it's okay. I worked in industries where people from other places, and you basically, just follow along, right? But now it's not even following along. They follow the rules, customs, but it's not that anymore. And I feel that New York City is being devoured from the inside out. And who's at jeopardy are the people who are vested here. The people who are vested here are the people who are born and raised here, who are taxpayers. You have people from all over the world who are lawfully here. They too are being violated. The quality of service is going down the drain in order to save a penny, but it's costed them many, many, many dollars. The cops, many, oops, hope I don't get censored saying that word. Well, they're leaving. This precinct near where I live, half of all the policemen in that precinct left. 50%, according to the cop. I had to go in there for something, um, and I said I need more protection. Because I told them about the physical assault that I went through, and that's what they told me. Hey, half of them left. They're fed up. I want to doubt if they start to get guest workers to serve as police officers. They they just they're just disrespecting the whole the local residences. It's a lack of respect and care. That's what I pick up, and that's why I feel like I want to leave. I feel like I want to leave. I'm not feeling good right now, and I apologize if I am offending anybody here. But my body, I feel, after watching those two videos, the one with the husband, yeah, it was a husband and wife team, and they live not all that. They live in a state right next to New York, and then the local, you know, government here in New York City. It's just going down the drain. Yeah, there was something else that was triggered me. It happened yesterday. Yeah, I went for a walk and I left later than usual. I went to look at the United Nations building in that area, and then I wanted to come back before it got dark. And on my block, I met a neighbor, and she started saying something. Yeah, this really triggered me. Sorry, sorry. Yeah, this is what I think really triggered me. It triggered me yesterday, and I think subconsciously it started to surface. Yeah, this really did it. I made mention of it a couple of days ago, I think. Well, um, there was a person from my building. I had to do some paperwork with the management office of my building. And in the conversation, yeah, that was a week, I think last week. Yeah, and they shared with me that a neighbor of mine uh, committed suicide by jumping off the building. And this another neighbor, when I was coming home, we started talking, and she said, well, I'm taking this medicine, this for my depression now, and blah blah. I didn't know what she was talking about, and then I said, like she was talking to me as if I knew, and I haven't seen her in a while. So I said, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? This. antidepressant. I mean, because this is a healthy woman. Well, she says, you mean you didn't hear? I said, hear what? She says, well, she, I'm sorry, I just have an itch there. She had seen the body of it was a man, a 40-something-year-old man, uh, who was the one. She said, and then she said, "You know him." I said, "I know him. Who, 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 who are you talking about?" Because at first I thought it was this. When she said that I know him, I thought it might have been this other guy, this elderly guy. So, oh, I said to myself. But she showed me a picture of a condolence thing on him, and I didn't know the person. I didn't recognize him. But yeah, this person was part of the community and did a lot of things for the community. Uh, my neighbor told me, and she did say that she saw him recently, and he was covered. I mean, he had a hoodie on. He didn't look very happy. But I she also added that well this suicide happened early last month. They said early in New Year's. It was early January this happened, and that the building's being hush hush about it for whatever reason. Um, this person it they landed in the garden area and not on the main uh, sidewalk, public sidewalk. So the general public didn't know about it, and so the policeman had to go inside the building in the courtyard. Yeah, it happened in the courtyard. The body landed in the courtyard and not in the main street. And she said that she saw the state of the body. I'm not going to say what she saw. Um, I tried to, console her. She was the same lady that consoled me when my brother died last year. Yeah. Um, so I was trying to, she wasn't crying or anything like that, but she said she cannot sleep. She's seeing a therapist, and blah blah blah. Um, this is a strong individual. This person was, what we would say from the street. Um, and she cannot take it. I I'm I I'm in shock. I'm in shock about this. When I got the news a week ago about the person from my building jumping, I tried to. I didn't want it to consume me. I was shocked, and then right after that, oh, let me see. I forget. Yeah, I think that was. Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, that was, I found out about the person from my building 3 days after that Miss USA jumping. That's what it was. And both suicides happened near each other. And I think that's what's freaking me out. Yeah, it happened in the same neighborhood. And I really don't want to be um, too much in the detail, but yeah, the woman, it also turned out, get this, it also turns out that my neighbor who's telling me the story, that her boyfriend, I'm sorry, her husband, excuse me, her husband knew the woman that, Miss USA, her husband works in the same building where she jumped from, and that her husband was one of the last people to see her alive. That he had, it was kind of, because the woman that's telling me this, she's in extreme emotional upset, and I never, so it's hard to follow her. But her husband saw her. I forget whether, it got kind. When you're hearing a traumatic story, even for the listener it can get confusing because you can't really, the shock of hearing the story. But if I understood right, her husband saw her, s- either was outside by the building or some, she said hello to him. She said hello, and then it got confusing that, um, something like by the time he reached upstairs, she already had did it. I said, "Oh my God, I'm I'm just lost for words." So this woman, this neighbor, had to face the reality of seeing someone from the building, the body of the man that committed suicide, and that person lived two. Um, I don't know whether they're in the same unit as me or one over, but they're just two floors above me. And when it happened, I was home that day. Yeah, this is early January, and I stayed home the first week. I could have potentially seen the body fall. And on top of that, um, how they found out about the guy is that a neighbor, a couple of floors below him, saw the body fall, and she called the cops. And the cops had to come into the building, and so I think they thought it was initial, maybe an attempt, when someone maybe might be just standing, want to jump because they had like a white suit or something. I think one of those, when you so that you don't hurt yourself. But the cop had to bring. It was really weird. It didn't. She wasn't making a lot of sense at that time. She was just rambling. And but he had already jumped. He left a note and other things. So imagine it's a lot on that woman. So she actually saw the body, and that's traumatized her. And then her husband spoke to the lady, Miss USA, who had jumped moments after she said hello to him. So that family is under stress. God have mercy. God have mercy. Yeah, that was last night she told me about that. It was yeah, it was uh in the evening. Yeah, it was just getting dark outside yesterday when I was on my way to just pick up a little snack and go home. Um yeah, to console myself. I told her, "Hey, you see a lot of people, they put her on two antidepressants," she said. And these antidepressants have side effects, and uh, it can work havoc on your body. And a lot of these drugs aren't made for certain types of people. That certain ethnic groups or racial groups. She's from Asia originally, and this South Asia, and some of these drugs may not be tested on certain groups. So you have to really be careful how the drug interactions, and when you want to get off of these drugs, that some of them have bad side effects, and drugs that go with it. I suggested to her, I said, yeah, because of mine, she can't sleep. She's been awake now for days. She said, um, I gave a suggestion about, I said, hey, maybe you can get like a candle, light a candle, and stare at the candle. I said, when the mind is busy, agitated, you can't think of 10 things at once when you like, when you do that, it helps calm the mind. And so it's not all over the place. Looking at a candlelight, a flame could really relax, calm your mind, and maybe have something like incense or something that has a nice smell to it. So she says, yeah, I like lavender. I said, yeah, okay. So you could put some lavender in your hands and smell your hands with the lavender and look at the candle, and help you feel more relaxed. See, these doctors want to push drugs on people, and they don't solve the problem. And I did also tell her, if you need someone to talk to, just call me, because she was saying how, other things, how it is affecting her. Yeah, she was mentioning that people need to get together. So I said, look, if you feel like you need to talk to someone, you could give me a call. Yeah, I just, wanted to present it out there. Yeah. So, so this is what's on my mind. And it's just a signs of the time that this whole thing, it's like a spirit that's out there. But I want to say there's hope also. I want hope for me and everybody else that's out there. Yeah, I want to say hope. I know I said a lot. I said a lot out here, and I don't want to offend. But I just want to share with you, why I'm feeling the way I do. But I want to lift up this conversation now that, yeah, there's hope for all of us. And sometimes we're going to hear things from people, especially people living in these big cities like I do. Yeah, we're being exposed to a lot of information. It's information overload. People are now speaking out, speaking out against these mandates. People are sharing stories of people who um, may not be able to, who's getting so stressed that they're committing suicide, and they just need someone to talk to. Yeah, I had no idea what she was talking about, so it was totally confusing. Could you know of this person? And is a strong person, and then they're telling you all these things. Yeah, things are happening very rapidly. People are getting overloaded, overstimulated, and I know I am at times. Sometimes it's a information overload, and your body needs to process it. I care about you all, and I want you to care about yourself, and I want to care about myself too. And that, none of us are Superman or Superwoman. And there's a point where you have to say, you're getting too overloaded, and sometimes you need to back away a little bit. And it doesn't mean that you don't love anymore or you don't care anymore. It just means that you're human and that you need to just step back a little bit and detox. Yeah, New York City here, we need a detox. We need to learn to love ourselves. There's hope. There is hope for us, all of us. They make you feel like you don't have a choice. And with this mandate, we do have choices now. Now, especially that the general mask mandate is now off, but now they just want to put it in places like the schools, nursing homes, things like that. But see, these are the people that need the oxygen. You want to learn, you better get oxygen. You want to get healed from a disease, you need oxygen. But they're only removing the mandate for those things bringing in money, like these businesses. So the bacteria, only, I mean, the virus only knows the virus in certain locations. It's foolish. It's really foolish. Yeah, do some serious praying, people. Pray like you've never prayed before for healing for the nation, healing for the planet, and healing for your life and your, family. They're going to try to do something. It's like they're releasing to give you some relief, and then they're going to spring it on you again. That's what I sense was going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong in this matter. I hope they release, this whole mandate and the jab. Yeah, this is, all over the planet. Canada, Europe. They're saying enough is enough. We initially put these people in because they might have been considered liberal, but the many of the liberal have an agenda, and it's not on your behalf. There is a world agenda out there, and we have to say enough. Your body is your right. Your body is your own mandate. And no one has the right to tell you what to eat, drink, or put in your body. They even had this lady that was some. I think of what she is, whether she's a mayor or governor, somewhere in Georgia. She's an extremely overweight woman, black woman, and she's in the foreground of a classroom, looked like a kindergarten or first grade classroom. And all the little children, all the little white children, had their mask on, but she didn't have one. And I know that how that sounds for me to say it like that. But I say it like that because guess what? When someone questioned her about it, she's going to use the race card. She's going to use the race card to say, oh, you just because of what I am. You're a fucking hypocrite. She's a hypocrite. Okay, someone's saying, okay, I have one of the bots saying, yeah, I used the strong language there for a moment. Yes, I did. But you're going to be someone who's grossly overweight and maybe even considered morbidly obese. You're going to be morbidly obese. And then you're going to have these little tiny little children, tiny, tiny in their body, in the height, everything petite, all over. And you're going to force them to wear a fucking mask. And then you're going to parade around fat like that. I know this is very coarse of me. I know it sounds horrible what I'm saying. But you're going to force little children a mask. And you're not wearing one in the photograph. And you're smiling. I start to feel that it's like a revenge. Like a revenge because no one loved you growing up, being a black woman. And so now you're going to go a tit for tat and require these little white kids to wear a mask. I said, wow. That's what I felt in the photo. I believe to be real. I'm talking how I feel, what it looked like. What if someone starts to pass a law against the morbidly obese that if you're morbidly obese, you don't have access to medical health care because you don't love yourself, you didn't take responsibility of what you eat, and we're not going to give you medical treatment. And in fact, if you have a health insurance, we're going to deny your health insurance because you're a liability. You know, they can do that. The system is coming to a point that, like in the hospitals now, there's some hospitals, if you didn't take the bug juice, as I call it, there was a person that needed a heart transplant, and they're denying him a heart transplant because he didn't want the bug juice. So they can do the same thing. Oh, you're overweight. Oh, you don't love yourself. Oh, you're a risk. Your liability for insurance. You're going to make our insurance premium, go up and everything. So we're not going to even give you health insurance or even life insurance. Could you believe that? Could you believe that? That could happen? There's a real people. Do you think that makes more sense that you're gonna have, I mean, when you're morbidly obese, you have such a high risk of everything. And you're a member of the black race too, living in America. Could you imagine the stress the body is under? We're under stress, regardless being in America, living here in America. But you're going to mandate something like that for little kids? And you think you're a hero? Wow. See, I think underneath how I feel, it's like the revenge of the nerds. It's like the revenge of the nerds, and they want to pull everybody down with them. I don't agree with that. You don't have to like certain people. And yes, we know certain things in history are and was being done to you and to us. But that does not give a right to harm little children. I don't know. I don't know. I know. I know I'm saying a lot here, and I'm offending people. But I can't stand hypocrisy, and I can't stand people using the race card. I know what racism is in America. I know and I feel it and I experienced it. But you're doing wrong, and for you, see, they know that the mass it's not real. They know what the real deal is regarding this crisis. Honey, if I'm high up and I have insider information, you know, why would I be afraid? That's why they're not afraid because they know it's not true. You're at a high risk group of getting a lot of things, and you're not wearing one because you know that it's fake. It's a fakery. Please, people, please. I know I'm saying a lot, and I have all this on my mind now. I feel really sensitive. I need to look at a candle now. I need a detox. I need a detox. I also heard in New York City, and it could be attributing to how I feel and what has been happening to the past month. They have that thing called 5G, and the YouTuber that was who does the walkabouts that I told you about earlier in this live stream. It's 5G. I think UW, ultra wide. Yeah, UW stands for ultra wide. Well, it's out in full blast now in New York City. This 5G ultra wide, and he was showing the machine that puts out that 5G thing. That's a frequency, people. 5G, those frequencies are low energy frequencies. They hit your brain and it affects you. It causes anxiety. Don't you think it might be causing depression too? I've never felt this way, like this. Like all of January, I didn't go outside. And you know what else, people? I was getting these headaches. I would wake up with the headache in my temples, my temple area. That's why I went to get tested for that pandemic thing. I got tested 4 times because I thought, hey, am I getting this that thing? I think it's the 5G. I think it's the 5G, and for that guy is showing that the UW ultra wide, so maybe it wasn't on full blast months back, but now it's on. And it would explain the behavior of the people. It could explain the type of dreams that I've been having. I told you guys, let me just move my arm. It's numb now. I'm sorry. Yeah. Remember a couple of days ago, I shared with you guys that I had this very bizarre dream. I had this bizarre dream of this black fellow committing suicide by jumping out of a building. This was before Miss USA died. Yeah, and I didn't know about the guy in my building jumping. I didn't know about him. So um, there's a frequency, there's a death frequency out there. I've never had a dream like this in my life. Never. It was a very bizarre dream, and there were bizarre individuals in the dream. Um, I saw it very clearly, the dream. And these frequencies could be targeting certain people. And in the dream, the guy was very, I see him in a building right across from where I was in the dream. And he's running down a hallway. And at the end of the hallway was the uh, window with the balcony. And he just leaps off. And then the the floor right below him had a balcony also, and as he fell, he hit his head on the balcony just below his floor, and he toppled to the ground, and it made such a loud thud. And people in the building where I was in the dream came to investigate what was that noise. And then there was this weird being. It was a like everyone in the building and the man that jumped was a young man, like in his 40s, um, were all black, black people, black Americans. But this thing that came and stood next to me was trying to bully me, was a tall, Caucasian like looking person. Why I say it like that? The, 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 the skin, like it looked like it's supposed to be a white person, but the skin had, like you could see through him. And it had whitish eyes also. It was a bizarre, never seen this in a dream. Never. What is this white dude doing in this black building, and then trying to boss us around? He never spoke. He didn't verbally speak, but he spoke with his eyes against me. When I went to look down to see what, because we're in shock, see, because I see the guy jump in this dream. People, I'm wondering whether these waves, what they call the 5G, whether it has a what you call a suicide stream on it. See, everything is vibration slash energy, and they could induce, I believe, a suicide um, energy upon a population. And coincidentally, the two people that committed suicide, and they're right near each other, where the two incidences happened, um, were both black people. One was a Afro Latino type, had a Hispanic last name, and then you had Miss USA, both black people. And the dream that I had about 2 weeks ago, and I talked about it. I didn't know about I didn't know about the first jumper that happened in January. I didn't know about that. And then Miss USA that happened about 3 days after my dream that I talked about. I talked about it. And then one of the people who commented said, "Hey, so and so, you talked about that," and said that maybe that was more like a premonition. And I had forgotten that I mentioned that in the dream because I didn't remember it. Like a lot of times when I wake up and I might give a dream, tell a story about a dream or a vision I had, I just give it over the video, and I may forget about it. Yeah, I just didn't want to forget, so I put it in the video. But I had forgotten that portion of the dream. I actually forgot that. And they reminded me. So I said, I did. I didn't know what she was talking about. So I played back the video. And I said, oh my, yeah. I completely forgot about it. Yeah, I wanted to forget about that dream because it was so bizarre. People, I think that these waves are deliberate and targeting certain people. And coincidentally, both black, and in my dream, that the victim in my dream was black also. These energies slash Sorry, my hand was above the mic. Sorry. I hope you heard what I was saying. Yeah, my hand slipped and it was covering the mic. So I hope that you got the message. Yeah, what I had just said, if it was covered, that it's war upon your mind. It's not your imagination. That if you start to feel a certain way or start to think certain things, because it could be this ultra wide 5G at play, and they can broadcast messages that are read energetically to self destruct. I rebuke that spirit of suicide from New York City, from this planet. I rebuke it. I rebuke it from the root. See that, people? It just started buffering. Yes, see, I speak the truth. Return back to sender. Return back to sender. You spirit of suicide, you spirit of murder, I rebuke you and I cast you out of our lives, off of this planet. And the spirit of love, peace, and joy, you are welcome to stay. I invite you, spirit of love. I invite you, spirit of peace. I invite you, spirit of wellness. I invite you, spirit of happiness. I invite you, spirit of what do you call it, of health. I invite you, spirit of happiness and joy. I invite you, spirit of employment. I invite you, all the blessings upon you and your family and your loved ones. This is the power that we actually have to speak words of truth and love, expose what is evil, call it out as it is. You have people who are using history as a camouflage to do wickedness. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it and expose it. Your body is your responsibility. Your body is your responsibility. Love yourself. Love yourself. Hug yourself. Listen to those people who are in pain. If you have a friend or something, you know, comfort them, because one day you may need someone to comfort you. We're all uh, are vulnerable at this time. Could potentially become vulnerable. Yeah, I love my country and I love its. I love the people here, but I don't love what we're becoming. We're becoming um, inhuman. There is hope for all of us. There is hope for all of us. Does anyone have anything that you want to share? Yeah, yeah, I'm just sad about everything. Yeah, I like to believe that spring is around the corner. Just next month, in a couple in what's that, about 4 more weeks, 4 or 5 more weeks is springtime. I pray that we have a sweet spring. Um, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna you know be challenged, but the power is in all of us. Make it happen for your life. And it's okay to say no, yes. It's okay to say no, even if it hurts. You have a right to say no if it is no. And you also have a right to say yes. If you want to say yes, say yes. And if you want to say no, it's okay to say no. Oh wow. Yeah. Love yourself. Hug yourself. So I don't know what else to say. But I thank you for this opportunity to speak truthfully to you. And until next time, have a great, great weekend, a safe one. And it's not your imagination, okay? Take care, guys. Bye bye.